All right, let's see. Okay, I think I am live on both YouTube and Facebook now. So good evening. Good evening. Thank you for joining me on this chilly November evening of Veterans Day. And I wanted to do a special video for Veterans Day and also share something with you guys that is so special to me. And I think it will even be special to you to a certain degree, even though it's a little bit less related to you. And that is, I wanted to share some things that I have sort of been handed down. I have my grandfather's footlocker from World War II. It's got his name on it, his rank. This is the footlocker that literally came with him all around the South Pacific. And I've got a ton of stuff inside as well. Actually, first, I just thought I should make sure. Can you guys hear me? Because I haven't gone live for a while. Can anybody say if they can hear me? Okay, I think somebody is, this might be a little bit delayed. Okay, loud and clear. Okay, awesome. How about on Facebook? Can you guys hear me? I see a thumbs up. I'll take that as, I'll take that. Okay, so there is a ton of stuff in the footlocker, which I'm going to share a little bit of. But the thing that is like so special to me, my grandfather, and of course, a lot of the soldiers that were deployed, they would write home and they would want letters, as many as possible letters. So there was a lot of mail going on. And in fact, in World War II, they had V mail, which was victory mail. And that was a little bit faster than the regular post office. So my grandfather, his aunt, typed up all of the letters he wrote, and I have a book of all of his letters that he wrote home from World War II, from 1942 to 1945. He finally came home December, right before Christmas in 1945. So, and I've read all of them. And not only do I have the version that's been typed up, I actually have the originals that were like the special, written on a special military paper that they sent back. I have all the originals, like this original pen ink and all that. But I'm going to read from the typed up version, just a few that I selected. And when I read this, I love it. Obviously, it's not a movie, it's not, but so many things I read and hear, I'm like, I can envision this as scenes right out of a movie. So I would like to share that with you guys because it's so special to me. And I like to do it in honor of all the veterans. Thank you all for your service. All the veterans, the combat veterans, the ones who are still with us today, the ones who are not, whether it's like my grandfather, he lived his full life after both wars, and then the ones who didn't, unfortunately, get to come home. And then even more importantly, a spotlight might need to be shined on the ones that did come home, but they didn't survive the emotional stuff they went through. So, big kudos, or, happy Veterans Day to all the veterans and the families of veterans that, were affected in all the ways that they could be. All right, so I'm going to first start out by reading the very first letter. It's less exciting, but it's the very first one. And I wanted to, I also printed up a few things to read so we could know like what's going on the dates, because I have the dates that he wrote them. So I'll tell you what's going on each of the dates. And then I wanted to share also, so I'm live on two things right now, so I'll share right here first. This is my grandfather. Here he's like enjoying the cactus because they're from the Midwest. So there's him with the cactus. And here is here's a better photo if you want to see him a little more clearly. That's my handsome grandfather. He's a handsome guy. Okay, all right. So I have photos, and that's how I'm going to share them. I literally have the original photos and a few other things. So let's start off. His very first letter home was August 2nd, 1942. And so what was going on in August of 1942, the events unfolding across the world, there were ongoing struggles of World War II with the Axis powers, Germany and Japan, facing setbacks and challenges, while the Allies, primarily the United States, the United Kingdom, and Soviet Union, continued to push forward against them. The German Navy in August 1942 suffered a rare triple blow, with 3 submarines being lost in a single day. Also, there were railway disruptions. The Germans cut the railway line linking Stalingrad to Krasnodar, which was a strategic move that would hinder Soviet supply lines. Also, in August of 1942, the Suonada typhoon, which was a powerful storm, it struck southwestern Honshu and Kyushu Islands, causing widespread damage. All right, so that sets the scene. And here we are. This is literally from my grandfather. Okay, he's writing from Camp Young, California, August 2nd, 1942. Dear folks, stayed in this weekend to get some letters written, and here I am just getting started. Have had quite a bit of work to do because it's the end of the month. In fact, I'm still not finished, but I'm going to try getting a couple of short letters written. I've been working in the orderly room, company headquarters, since I've been out here, and the end of the month, my first, brings a little extra work. Besides that, our first sergeant was in an automobile accident last week. So we have been acting in his place, daily reports, morning reports, sick book, ration reports, etc. Have certainly been having a lot of fun the last couple weekends. Last week, Mrs. Edward G. Robinson had 150 Beverly Hills girls at a swell place just outside of Coachella, small town not far from Indio. And we had swimming, dancing, etc., both Saturday and Sunday. I was there both days and haven't had so much fun since this army started. Even took some colored pictures with Mr. Edward G. Robinson's favorite movie camera. I shot about 40 feet of film. Don't suppose there will be a chance to see how it came out. There were several other noted actors there, but I'm not enough of a picture enthusiast to remember their names. Terrible, isn't it? Mrs. Robinson is certainly nice, lots of energy and enthusiasm, and certainly a worker. I meant to have a dance with her just to say I had, but was too busy keeping the fellows away from one of the Beverly Hills numbers. The weekend before last, hold on, I actually have photos. I have photos of this. Well, here's the swimming. I'll start with this one. Here they are swimming, and I'll point out my grandfather. He's right in the middle. My finger's right above him. There they are doing their swimming before they're dancing. Okay, and let's see. Okay, so then he says, the weekend before last, we spent in Palm Springs. Its business section is all white stucco with lots of red tile, and is, to say the least, very nice, even though many of the buildings are closed up during the summer. enough of that. I got a package of cookies from the Lindstroms this week. It was done in a hurry. Don't believe I've ever written a thank you, or don't believe I've ever written to thank Lily, but got a very nice box of candy from her back at Fort Leonard Wood. Also got a small Bible from the Luther League and candy and cookies from two couples in Tacoma. Mustn't forget to say I am now corporal instead of private in this army, so have a couple stripes on my arm. And guess what I have? I got the stripes. I think these are the stripes. He advanced a few times. See? All right. Had better stop now if there's going to be any more letters written this PM. Want to write to Bob and Viv. Those are his brother and sister. And am enclosing some pictures I took a couple weeks ago. So this was another one. I can't remember if I bookmarked one. They went fishing in Massachusetts after that. My grandfather's on this one. He's right here. There they are, showing their fish. Okay, so let's see what the next one says. I always forget. There's so much going on here. I love reading this. I just absolutely love it. It's literally like sitting down with my grandfather, and I mean, it's a glimpse in time. All right, so here we are. Oh yes, so this one is had the address Company A, 594th Engineer Boat and Shore Regiment. So this was actually a regiment or division in the Army that they don't have anymore. So he was, see, I have more things to share. He was one of the engineer amphibian troops. And this is literally their workbook. This is like what they learned at this new camp. The next one. Look, it's got, so let me share the love to Facebook and YouTube. So this is it. And then, you can see it's got it's like their textbook, their workbook. So that's pretty freaking cool. It's got like how to navigate with the stars and stuff. Okay, so that's that. So after California, of course, everybody's doing their own thing, getting sent different places. So he was sent to Camp Gordon Johnston. And this next letter is dated January 24, 1944. And I have a little snippet about Camp Gordon Johnston. In September 1943, so he is there right after that, the camp's mission was altered to train personnel and operate small harbor craft and amphibious vehicles. Okay, let me tell you about the amphibious vehicles. There is a super famous clip, and you've probably seen it in, different things. Certainly in movies, it's reenactments even. And the clip it's all black and white, and the camera's looking out at the ocean, and an amphibious vehicle, that's the boats. In fact, there's a picture in here. I don't know, maybe I won't take the time to look for it, but those are the boats okay, I got too much going on. Let me not look for that. The famous clip is one of those amphibious vehicles pulling up right into the sand, and then a bunch of troops running off. So he was on, operating those amphibious vehicles, dropping off troops, doing grocery runs and things like that. Okay, so Camp Gordon Johnston is where they did all the training for those small harbor craft and amphibious vehicles. And so it was also a prisoner of war internment. So in 1944, German and Italian prisoners of war were interned at the camp. And you know what? I didn't think to look where it was. That one might have actually been in Florida. I think, dang it, I should have looked. I think that one's in Florida. He kind of bounced around up to Massachusetts, then back. And then also the camp continued to train amphibious soldiers and their support groups, utilizing a 20-mile stretch of Gulf Coast beach. Well, there you go. That's Florida. From Alligator Point to St. George and Dog Islands, covering 165 acres. Maybe it means 165,000. There's a dot and a 000, so I'm not sure. And the printer didn't print, so I can't totally. Anyway, as an area. Also, camp operations. Let's see. Camp Gordon Johnston remained operational, providing some of the toughest military training in the world until the end of World War II in August 1945. Decommissioning following the war's end, the camp was decommissioned in 1946. Okay, so here he is at Camp Gordon Johnston, January 24, 1944. Dear folks, have had some beautiful weather the last couple days. The kind of weather that is probably the inspiration to the Florida Chambers of Commerce. There you go, it is Florida. Yesterday, about 12 of us took 2 boats out to do a little fishing. I didn't have any tackle, but went along anyway for the trip. It was marvelous. The Gulf was as calm as glass. The sun was bright and warm, so you could take off your shirt and soak it up. This isn't the time of year to catch fish. They say it's in between seasons, but we didn't expect to catch much. We did catch 9 small ones, small for around here, 2 bass about 12 inches and 14 inches, 1 croaker, 2 skate, 2 flounders, and we didn't know the name of, one a species of flying fish, and another a long, slim one with wicked-looking teeth. We had our carabines along with us, along with a little extra ammunition, so got in a little target practice. We took the mess sergeant along, so had excellent food for lunch, more closely described as a dinner on the boats. All in all, a pretty nice Sunday. There are lots of things I would like to write, but can't at the present time, so don't have much to say. And then it looks like he writes later, Tuesday, noon. Didn't get much written last night, but I will get this in the mail today anyway. We'll be sending home some of the extra clothes within the next day or so. Woolen underwear, overcoat, etc. Love, Bruce. Alrighty. The next one I have, okay, so now he's bounced back to the West Coast. And this is just a couple months after that. This is April 20 of 1944, and it just says West Coast. Dear folks, well, as you can see, we've changed locations. We're now somewhere on the West Coast, and that's all we're supposed to write. This is a marvelous camp compared to our old one. Wouldn't mind spending a few months in it. The food is excellent, scenery good, and we aren't far from some good-sized towns. Haven't had too much to do out here, but always seem to be busy with something. All mail is censored from here, and it's up to the officers to censor the company mail. So every night, instead of getting my letters written, I have been reading other people's mail. We, the officers, are supposed... And then I think she couldn't read his handwriting, so she put some dots. We're supposed, blah, 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 our own mail, maybe to censor, and he censored it. Maybe it was a joke. Our own mail, and we sign the envelope on the bottom. Left-hand corner, but don't stamp it. About 50% of the officer's mail is checked by the base censor. I feel for the base censor. If he gets hold of this one, because I'll bet my writing is plenty tough to read. If he gets a few written as bad as this, his eyes will certainly go bleary. Did you get the last package I sent from Gordon Johnston? It should have had 3 separate bundles in it. I kept adding more clothes to it. The pink pants are awfully dirty and should be sent to the cleaners. And there is also 1 wool undershirt that is probably a little dirty. I will probably send home my blouse and green pants before I leave. My new address is CO, I forgot what that stands for. Company D, 594th EB and SR, APO number 159, Postmaster, San Francisco, California. It's funny because he says in the beginning of the letter, I'm on the West Coast. I can't tell you anymore. But then he gives his address. Better have Vivian change my address for the letter from home sheet. And also for the Dayton Review. They're from Dayton, Ohio. No, Dayton, Iowa. Oh my gosh, Iowa. Well, my time is running short, so we'll close. Love, Bruce. P.S. Your letters to me are not censored. I will have to write a request for something to get a package, but I only have to request one thing, and other things can be put in the box. It only costs 66 cents to send a cablegram, so I might try that sometime. Let me see if I forgot to show some associated pics. Let's see, we did these two. I think these ones are for, these may have been a different one. Okay, all right. Moving along. So that was 1944. Oh, and the next one I think has a thing to read. Okay, so here we are. Next letter I'm going to read. So right after that, he shipped out. So from they got sent to the West Coast, and then from there they got deployed. And the next letter is in June of 1944, and I'm going to tell you what was going on in that time. During June 1944, the world witnessed a series of significant events that would shape the course of World War II. D-Day invasion. June 6, Allied forces launched a massive amphibious assault on Nazi-occupied France, codenamed Operation Overlord. Over 150,000 troops landed on 5 beaches of Normandy, marking the beginning of the liberation of Western Europe from Germany occupation. Also during that time, Battle of Normandy, which is kind of that, the Allied forces continued to push inland, engaging German troops in intense battles. The battle raged on for over 2 months, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. The Italian campaign. Allied forces captured Rome on June 4, 1944, marking a significant milestone in the Italian campaign. The city was largely spared from destruction, as German forces retreated without blowing up key infrastructure. Also, Philippines liberation. American forces began to retake the Philippines, with President Roosevelt signing a bill granting independence to the islands once the Japanese occupation ended. Also during this time, which I didn't write down, but Roosevelt passed the GI Bill. So there was already soldiers coming back, and that's when they started the GI Bill. And this one, let's see, the largest naval battle of Leyte Gulf, the largest naval battle in history, took place in the Philippines. American and Japanese forces clashed in a series of engagements. These events marked a turning point in the war as the Allies gained momentum in Europe and the Pacific, while the Soviet Union continued its relentless push against Germany. The world was witnessing the tide of war shifting in favor of the Allies, paving the way for eventual defeat of Nazi Germany and Japan. Okay, so so he was on a boat while all that was happening, and his first letter, once he got to New Guinea, so he was in what they call the Pacific Theater, or the South Pacific. So they arrive, and they're in New Guinea. This is June 11, 1944. Dear folks, I'm going to outdo myself tonight. Just wrote a V-mail, and it's pretty short, so we'll write a little more. Send this airmail and see which gets through first. Let me know which is the fastest. I'm feeling fine and enjoying myself thoroughly. It's been a bit rugged setting up my work camp, but things are running swell now. Just like spending a vacation out camping at home. Only many more interesting things have come up. The jungle is so thick, you can't push your way into it without using a machete. Lots of beautiful birds, and you could make a marvelous butterfly collection if you had time. I'll swear some of them look to have a wingspread of a pigeon. Some of the men say as big as a hawk, but That is a little strong. I am enclosing a paper which mentions my camp. I have that paper. Oh, okay. Maybe I won't show that. The paper mentions his camp. Let me find that again. They have slightly exaggerated the shortness of time required and haven't counted cooks, medics, and communications men. They've been a little enthusiastic, but anyway, it sounds good. Have many more natives coming tomorrow. I'm writing this, so the natives were the natives to the area. I'm writing this by the light of 2 candles and don't know who's going to win out, the bugs or myself. If they didn't keep flying into the flame and burning their wings, I'm sure they would. I'm well covered with mosquito repellent. And will soon close and crawl under my mosquito net and go to sleep. Got in on a very special native dance today, much more colorful and exciting than any Hollywood ever thought up. Have been trying to trade them out of a drum to send home, but so far been unsuccessful. Have received 2 letters from you and 1 Esther sent back in March. Let's have more letters. Love, Bruce. And here's the newspaper. I think this is a scan of it. I didn't intend to show this, so I didn't unhook it, but you can see it's all hand drawn, and it's got a picture of I think their map. Their map on there. Well, maybe that map's on another one. Yeah. So anyway, it talks about their camp and at that camp in New Guinea. All right, moving forward in time, skipping a few letters along the way. All righty, New Guinea. So this is about a month later, still in New Guinea, and well, it might say in the letters, but they are setting up a camp. I think they have like a wood mill, like they built a wood mill, and then they're like building things. All right, New Guinea, July 5th, 1944. Dear folks, time goes by. The 4th of July went by much the same as other days. I could at least have a shot off my carbine. I don't know if it's said carbine or carbine. I'll say carbine, and I might be wrong, but I might be right. Okay, I could at least have shot off my carbine a couple of times to celebrate, but didn't. Don't know if I told you, we now have a radio in our little camp. So we can hear the news from San Francisco each day. Yes, and we have a generator for electric lights. I'm getting them hooked up, so by tomorrow we'll have electric lights in our tents. Pretty nifty, eh? That's what he said. They're already using electric lights in base camp, but didn't expect to get them out here. This place is really getting civilized. Guess I'll have to push back in the jungle farther. So far, I've received 1 Dayton review, and I think that's his parents were sending him the newspaper from his hometown. So far, I've received 1 Dayton review dated April 4th. It came last week. June 6th is the last V-mail I've received. How's the mail coming through to you? Correction, I received a V-mail of the 11th of June from the Lyndon Jacobson reunion, giving names of those present. So that's my latest mail. Have also received 7 or 8 copies of your letter from home, he quotes, from Fort Dodge. The last one came about a week ago. Well, time to leave. Write more often. So far, jungle life is agreeing with me perfectly, but I take my Adabrin daily and sleep under mosquito nets. Love, Bruce. And here is a scan of one of that actual letter. This is it scanned. You can see his handwriting certainly is hard to read. And I have the originals of these. Okay. Next up. Okay, New Guinea, still in New Guinea. Dear folks, well, lots of things have happened since my last letter. I am no longer at the sawmill. It is being turned over to another outfit, so we won't have to carry it around with us. I have been on a 400-mile boat trip along the coast. Very interesting. And back with B Company, the one I left before coming overseas. The major told me when they left that I would be back in the old company when we got over here. He also met me on the beach when we landed and said I would be back, but hadn't heard anything about it since, until about a week and a half ago. Have been on the boats most of the time for the last couple weeks, and it's not very encouraging to try to write with salty spray or rain pouring on you or bouncing around like a cork on the waves. Went swimming this evening. It was marvelous, marvelous. Half moon silhouetting the coconut trees. It's beautiful in our present camp. We are in a very large coconut, and he puts in parentheses, copra, plantation, or what was before the war. It's been treated a bit rough, sort of blown up in spots, but is still beautiful. I expect to be moving around considerably in the future. We'll probably be running grocery routes to out-of-the-way places along the coast. We'll write every time I get a chance, but it probably won't be too regularly. For heaven's sake, please keep letters coming from that end. Regularly, though, because I certainly look forward to them. I'm very tired tonight, so we'll close and go to bed early. Trying to write this on my knee, so you probably won't be able to read it. Love, Bruce. Still in New Guinea, July 23, 1944. Dear folks, just finished a nice big juicy orange from Native Garden. The native oranges are green instead of orange color, but are very sweet and good. I'm glad we are out here, away from the base, so we can all enjoy the good fresh fruits, etc. Okay. I sent another box home yesterday. The box is made of teak wood, contains a native drum, very good one too, several native combs, headdresses, 2 small pieces of raw rubber, one smoked and one fresh off the tree, and a little raw coffee. Did you ever get the other box? It was shipped over a month ago. I took this box down to the base post office myself. Got it in just before closing time. I just wonder if there aren't a lot of boxes pilfered before they get out of New Guinea. I'm enclosing a paid order of 25 pounds, which is $80.33. Payday a couple of days ago, and no place to spend any money. So interesting, right? $80.33 payday. Well, it's time for dinner, so we'll close. Love, Bruce. P.S. Caught a couple of butterflies that was going to mount, but the rats ate them all up the first night. Just left the wings. And I have some photos that I pulled out. Oh, he's not talking about these guys yet, but maybe here's a couple. So here's some of the natives. And I'll show you these guys. I think a letter's coming up about these. And he sent some of these shells home too. So he talked about these in one. I don't remember if the one that I will read will include him talking about the shells. Oh, by the way, actually, there's another cool thing. This is his lock from the Foot Locker. So this is our lock. It's huge and heavy. Pretty neat, huh? And the key works. I think it works. I've tried it. Yeah. Pretty cool, huh? Okay. let's see. I think I've probably only got a few others. I didn't know how long it would take me to read this. All right, this one, they have, what is that? Oh, the Admiralty Islands. Wait, where does, this one doesn't say Admiralty. Maybe I meant to do this one. Oh, okay, so this was right before he went to the Admiralty Islands. So the Pacific Theater was how they referred to it, the South Pacific. You know, they had a bunch of islands, and so they kind of went around the islands. There was the ones that were, you know, pushing off the troops, and then others came in afterwards and kind of like sustained. I don't know. I don't know the right words, but then they would travel up the up north along the Pacific, all the way up eventually to Japan. So I don't know if I had this one. You know, the thing is, while I can't watch comments, I can't really gauge like the interest. Let me just do this one. I'll just jump ahead. Why did I have Admiralty Islands pulled out? Let me just jump ahead. Let's see. Okay, this one, November. So here they've moved on to New Britain. And I think some interesting things happened in there. And they've got like actually some shows about it. I think I didn't pull those out. Okay, I missed it. But I think at this time in New Britain, they had there was a big battle that was hugely famous. And it's a word, I don't know, like a Filipino word. I can't remember, but they named that battle. But there's some cool shows about it, you know, like documentaries or like kind of reenactment stuff. Anyway, so we'll read. I'll read a couple more. I think I've got a few more just bookmarked. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so we got New Guinea. Oh yeah. Okay, so if you look, I think the whole area is called New Guinea, and you can see it shows the Admiralty Islands and New Britain. So they were kind of traveling around to these different islands in that area. Okay. Oh yeah, this one he introduces the natives. Okay, November 18, 1944. Dear folks, as you probably noticed, I'm at a new address. Have been very busy getting up new camp set up. Lots of rain and mud up to our knees. The sun has come out the last few days though, so it's beginning a slow process of drying out. And I discarded my hip boots yesterday. For how long, I don't know. Without a bulldozer to knock out brush, trees, and vines, it would have been impossible to set up camp here. It's remarkable what you can do with a dozer. The ground was alive with land crabs, but they are disappearing now that the area is about cleared. There are always a few still wandering around the tent, though, looking for a home. Just now, one of the prettiest green lizards is wandering around my cot and climbing over my footlocker. This footlocker! By the way, those are lizard skins, not snake skins on the drum. The mail came in last night, the first since we've been here. Everybody was feeling in the mood to celebrate. We hope to get mail in and out of here once a week, but so far it hasn't worked out. Probably will from now on, though, I hope. Received 4 date and reviews, September and October ones. 5 letters from you, 1 from Helen, and a package from Esther. Boy, is it ever nice to get mail. But I certainly haven't been getting any answered. I'm glad the bowls came through. You asked what they were used for. They're the same as a combination dinner plate and utility bowl. There's been many a native dinner eaten from both of them, such as roast pig, baked, fried, or squashed bananas, boiled taro roots, native potatoes, mashed pawpaws, and everything else the natives eat. You mentioned that James Hugland had the same APO that I had. He was very probably in the same camp then. However, my new APO 713 is different, but I'm not at that camp or even near it. Mail comes from there via ship or flying boat. We'll enclose a few pictures and put some more in future letters. You asked if I paid money or traded things that I had sent home. The answer is traded. Food is the best item to trade. Sea rations, bully beef, and biscuits are tops. Cloth, calico to them, tobacco, candles, and all sorts of odd things. In the area around the sawmill, a black plastic soap box would get most everything. Fortunately, I had several with me. The natives would go wild when they saw one. Why, I don't know, never could find out. Traded a couple of well-read, worn Dayton reviews for one of the combs I sent home. I should write Earl Blair about that. They crumble up stick tobacco and make cigarettes, using newspaper for cigarette paper. They prefer stick tobacco to American cigarettes. Contrary to usual belief, dime store trinkets are not much good for trading. Food is their principal worry, and to get bananas or fruit, you almost have to trade them some kind of food in return. The natives will take money, but would much prefer some useful items because there are very, very few traded stores where they can spend money. American troops always spoil the natives near a large army camp, and it is useless to try any trading. When we first landed in New Guinea, the men were handing out florins, equivalent to 32 cents, for a native to climb a tree and knock down a couple coconuts. That ended very shortly after the novelty. All right. He's also attaching, let's see. So he sent, and I don't know if I bookmarked it, but he sent like some like Australian coins. This is a 1942 Australian penny. And, this was the Florian, the 1943 Australian Florian or whatever. So, yeah, he sent a bunch of stuff. Okay, let's see. There's my favorite one coming up. And I don't know if, let's see. Is it this one? Well, I'll keep reading. Was it this one? The Philippine invasion money. I don't know how interesting this is. I feel like I missed the one that I like so much. Is it this one? Okay, let me go. What does this one say? Read. Okay, let me just move on to this one. All right, they're in Dutch New Guinea, and this is May 15, 1945. Dear folks, again, long time no write. Have new APO number 75. Have been away from the Aussies for some time now. We've been living on our boats, so conditions are very crowded and not the best for letter writing. Haven't received any mail since before leaving the last station, and probably won't for some weeks to come. Glad things are finished up in Europe. Oh yeah, this is the end. You know what? I missed my favorite one in there, and I want to show about it. They had, I think, like the natives were helping them build the camps, and there was the foreman, but they called him Boss Boy, or no, the natives called him Boss Boy, and then they called everybody Boy. It doesn't matter what their age was; they called everybody Boy, and all the girls were called Mary. So I think this is Boss Boy. This might be Boss Boy. Actually, oh no, this isn't Boss Boy. This says NKA, enemy agent, taken in our S2 tent. Oh, I thought that was Boss Boy. Okay, that's an enemy agent. Probably a Japanese guy. Poor guy. Okay. But here we might have Boss Boy, and he talks about the grass skirts. He sent some grass skirts home. He, traded them. So I must have missed that one, but let's see. Oh, this one, I wrote this one down because, by the way, I'm, obviously skipping a lot. But here he says, glad things. So this is May 15, 1945. They're still down in the New Guinea area. This is Dutch New Guinea. Glad things are finished up in Europe. It makes you feel, oh, and that was, I feel like I missed some of my notes. But it was, let's see, that was May 15. I think it was May 8 that that Germany surrendered, or the Nazis surrendered. And then the last battle was actually May 12, like in Croatia or something like that. But so this is right after Europe surrendered, and Japan is not yet surrendered. And so he mentions that. He goes, glad things are finished up in Europe. It makes you feel that it's probably the beginning of the end over here, and that there's a possibility of going home in a year or so. Before that, you didn't dare think of when you might get home. So, and I think that's the last one that I have marked. But anyway, I just wanted to share that. I love reading them. I've read them a few times just because it's kind of cozy, And so that was 1945, and then Japan surrendered, I think, in the fall, like September. Obviously, you can find out the accurate date. But he stayed. He didn't have enough points. That was another thing in World War II. You had to have a certain amount of points to return home. And the points were calculated on time spent there, combat, rank, and those sort of things. So he had 72 points, and I think you needed like 90 to get home. So he had to stay like a few months longer. So they went back down after they left Japan, went back down to the South Pacific to whatever. So anyway, I think that's everything. Oh, this might be, here's some others. Just some interesting ones. Some other picks. And couldn't tell you where he's at, but just all of them, the fellows, as he calls them, good group of fellows. I think this was out there too. Oh, this actually has a letter on it. A short breather after putting this footbridge up in 10 minutes, starting with the material piled up on the bank. See, the cursive handwriting is very, very cursive, so it's a little hard to read, but nice handwriting, right? And so there they are, taking a break after doing some work and putting up that footbridge. So it's presumably somewhere in the South Pacific. So anyway, that is it. I will leave you with that. Oh, I even have like his hat. It's got his name. He's got his handwritten name in there, like this little hat. So, and this is the amphibian patch. It's got the seahorse on it. So I wanted to share that to celebrate one of my favorite people that I don't get to hang out with now. And also, honor and celebrate and thank all the veterans out there. And happy Veterans Day. Stay warm, and we'll see you later.